Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. Tigers right fielder J.D. Martinez has suddenly gotten hot, and it's come at the right time. .563 batting average over his last four with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, and that's good news for the Tigers offense. Nice night for baseball here in the Motor City. Welcome to Comerica Park, Game 1 featuring the Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Kirk Gibson. Glad to have you with us here for Game 1 in this series. The Tigers, Gibby, have won 4 straight. JD a big part of that, but so is Ian Kinsler.
Yeah, the Tigers, you could say 4 in a row, and Ian Kinsler has set the stage up at the top of the order. His 33rd leadoff home run on Monday leads to 8 runs in the first win. They go on to sweep the Twins. Last 4 games, .529 average, 4 home runs, 7 RBI. The keys to me really are the number 7 hitter and Maven, the number 9 hitter and Iglesias. Those guys very productive. Cam Maven 5 for 9 with 3 stolen bases. Biggie with 5 RBI. So kind of setting the stage for Ian Kinsler and helping his production go up because he is hot.
All right, now the Tampa Bay Rays come to town here tonight. Our first look at this Rays team, Gibby. They are a very low average team, but a very high power team.
Well, they've always been a low payroll team and, like you say, a low average team, but they kind of a weird offense to figure out. 58 home runs leads the league. 300 hits is last in the league, and a .235 batting average is tied for 22nd in the league. They've always relied on their pitching. That is second in the league this year. Jim Hickey's always one of the best. So this will be a good matchup tonight. Good pitching. Tampa's hot. Tigers are hot. Let's go get them.
Yeah, looking forward to it. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Coliseum Studios. Check in with Trevor Thompson. Well, why have the Tigers won 4 straight? Maybe it's Maven. His speed and energy has brought a different dimension to the Tigers. Stay with us. Tigers Rays coming up next. Anibal Sanchez making his walk out to the mound, getting set to start tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays in Game 1 in this 3-game weekend series. For the Rays, their starting lineup presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Steven Souza Jr. in right field, Brad Miller at short. Evan Longoria, career number is pretty good against the Tigers. He's at third base. Pierce, Dickerson, and Jennings in the middle of the Rays lineup. Morrison, Kiermaier, and Hank Conger rounded out for Tampa Bay. And the Tigers' right-hander is Anibal Sanchez, presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Yeah, trying to get straightened out here. He looks like he's been trending the right way, looking for 6+ innings and a win. I don't believe he's had a win since the end of April. Keeping the ball in park. The velo's been a little bit down, but it's climbing in May as it's trended in his past years. The Tigers are looking for a nice, quick start to this game.
Last victory for Sanchez was April the 28th, and that was against the Oakland Athletics. So we'll see if Mr. Sanchez can get it going here tonight. It'll be Steven Souza Jr. to step in to start this one off. Tigers and Rays getting together for the first time here in 2016. This is a Rays team that, as we told you at the top, hits a lot of home runs. First pitch of the ball game is hit down the right field line, but foul. 0-1.
One of the things, the Rays used to be a very patient team at the plate, and they subscribe to working the counts. And now they've switched that around, and they're attacking. They're going with the exact opposite approach, and it's worked well as far as hitting the ball out of the park.
That's drilled toward left field, hit well, way up there, and that ball is going to go a home run. Well, just like that, the Tampa Bay Rays have taken a 1-0 lead on the Souza homer. And that didn't take long. Number 9 for Steven Souza Jr.
Just a hanging pitch right here. You see the breaking ball coming out. It's up, it's hanging. And Souza does what a lot of big leaguers do with it. Gets out of there, no doubt about it. That's just spinning, not much dip on there. Reload, get the next guy.
We were barely able to tell you the Rays hit a lot of homers, and there they go. Brad Miller steps in. 2
pitches, 2 swings. So you have to make good quality pitches early in the count with this Rays team.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's low. 2 balls and no strikes on Brad Miller. First career leadoff home run for Souza. Miller has hit 5 homers this year. Low batting average, though. The 2-0 is a strike on the outer edge. This is a Rays team that is coming off a 3-game sweep with the Blue Jays in Toronto, and they put up some massive offensive numbers in that series. Here's the 2-1. 3-1 now on Brad Miller.
Kevin Cash, the young manager, second season as the Rays manager. 99-101 is it so far. Off to a pretty good start, actually. He's done a good job for not having any managerial experience, and we'll talk about him longer in the telecast. Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. Left to right, Jay up, Cam Maven, and JD out in the outfield. Castellanos at third, Cabrera at first, Iglesias and Kinsler up the middle. James McCann behind the plate today, receiving the ball from Anibal Sanchez.
So Sanchez now, after the walk to Miller, will face Evan Longoria, who leads their team in RBIs with 19. Longoria batting .260. He's been hot recently, a 7-game hitting streak. That one misses way inside. 1-0.
Brad Miller likes to run, 2 stolen bases. Been caught a couple times this year. Anibal Sanchez not so good at holding runners. So he's going to have to give him a little attention over there. Hold the ball on him. Give James McCann, or give James a chance to break the McCann out.
I like it. That's
that
the
was
first.
Yours saying, wasn't
yeah,
it?
but that's the first McCann you've dropped this year. That's good. And again, he's giving him plenty of attention. Well, Sanchez already has a walk in this game, and his walks per 9 this year have been around 5, so that's awfully high. Here's the 1-0. High fly ball. Medium depth in center field. Cameron Maben coming in. One gone. Michigan Lottery brings you the scouting report on these Rays who have hit the most home runs in the major leagues.
Yep, at 59, Baltimore. We just came from there. They hit their share. Mets, Seattle, and the Cards. Detroit 49, tied for 9th.
It really is strange to look up and down this Rays lineup and see all the home runs they've hit, and yet all of the averages are, not all of them, but a good portion of them are hovering around 200, some below 200. There's a strike on Steve Pearce. A .301 batting average with 6 homers.
If you're Brad Miller, you're going to try and wait and guess on a breaking pitch. You go on that pitch.
Pearce coming off a couple of pretty good seasons with the Orioles. Here's the 0-1. Fly ball right field. Martinez backs up. JD under it now. And that's the second out of the inning.
Tell you what, Tampa Bay haven't hit a ball on the ground yet, have they?
No, they haven't.
Oh, back leg and everything.
And here's Corey Dickerson, a guy with 8 home runs this season. Rays gave up a pretty good bullpen piece, and Jake McGee to get Corey Dickerson from the Colorado Rockies.
This guy can hit. I watched him get a single on a bounced pitch.
Really?
Seen him hit 2 pitches off the ground. Yeah, he's got good hand-eye coordination.
Dickerson batting with 2 outs. They play him to pull slightly on the infield. Rays lead 1-0 on the leadoff home run by Steven Souza. There's a ball outside to Dickerson.
You see the modified infield alignment right here, bringing the guys together. Cassie well off the line. Iggy up the middle.
Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Dickerson.
I believe this is a changeup. When you got free swingers, guys going there, you can see the changeup. Good arm movement, good action. Ball's dipping down. And Dickerson's out in front.
Strike called by Jerry Meals, the home plate umpire. 1-2. Rays felt they had to add to their offense a little bit in the offseason when they acquired Dickerson. Gave up McGee, the bullpen piece. And he's provided 8 home runs so far, 17 driven in. As Miller draws another throw. This will be a good test for the Tigers here. They're facing some pretty good pitching in this series. And a Rays team, as we mentioned, that came off the 3-game sweep of a really good Toronto team in their own house at Rogers Center.
And people have been getting beat up. Teams have been getting beat up when they go in there with all the bats that Toronto's got, and they score a lot of runs. But we had a reversal as Tampa Bay swept them.
Runner goes on 1-2, slapped out of play. Miller retreats. Waiting on deck, Desmond Jennings for the Rays. Tampa a 500 team so far, 19-19. The Tigers 19-21. Both teams riding mini winning streaks right now. Runner goes again, slapped toward third, fair ball down the line. On his way to third base, Miller. He's coming around the bag. They're going to try and score him. Upton gets the ball back in, but not nearly in time. It'll be a double and an RBI for Corey Dickerson.
Now, if you don't think there are major league hitters that try to hit against the shift, that was blatant right there and a very good hitting. He sees he lets this ball get deep, and he just serves it right down the left field line, right basically inside of the bag. This Dickerson, he's a good hitter. He's got back control. And Miller, since he's on the way, scores easily. Tigers down 2-0.
Here is Desmond Jennings trying to plate another 2-out run. Ball high, 1-0. Well, the Bernstein advantage brings you the pitcher-batter matchup between these two, and Sanchez has held him to a 1-for-9.
No extra base hits, a couple of Ks.
Here's the 1-0.
Desmond Jennings, highly touted, struggling so far, only at 188, 3 home runs and 10 RBI. OPS under 600.
Swing and a miss, 1-2 on Jennings. Well, when he got to the big leagues, a lot was expected of Jennings. Has good speed, is a really good defensive outfielder. In fact, he has not committed an error since the 2013 season. Now Sanchez with the 1-2. Would not chase. 2-2 on Jennings. Anibal now has thrown 20 first-inning pitches. Logan Morrison waiting on deck. The count stays on Jennings. Sanchez last start against the Orioles, he went 6 innings, allowing 6 hits, 4 earned runs, and again gave the Tigers trying to find a way to get him through that 6th and pitch deeper into games.
Yeah, he's been 7 once so far this year, but pretty much 6 he's been topping out. He seemed to hit a wall.
Slow ground ball right side. Sanchez will cover, and he is safe at first base. A slow roller, and Jennings has speed, and he beat it out.
He actually jammed him in one of those deals, the way the infield was aligned. He doesn't make it to the bag. I think he's safe. I don't know if he got the bag.
He must not have touched the bag initially.
See Miggy way off first base.
Yeah, missed the bag.
You think so?
I think so. Otherwise, they'd have probably called him out, because I think Sanchez's foot hit first.
Yeah. Well, Jennings definitely a threat to run.
Well, here is Morrison. The inning continues. Runners at first and third for the Rays. Morrison batting just 170. A little bit outside, 1-0. Morrison is 6 for his last 10. Drives one to right field. That ball will get down and drive in another run. Jennings on his way to third base. He will stop there, and the Rays now have a 3-0 lead.
Having trouble getting the ball down, leaving it up to Tampa, making the Tigers pay. This ball's right at the top of the zone, 89 miles an hour, and Morrison's all over it. And when you look at a pitcher throwing to a hitter, you have a strike zone right there, and you kind of divide it into 9 quadrants. So you draw 3 horizontal lines, actually 2, and then 2 up and down lines, perpendicular, and it creates 9 zones. And that zone right there is pretty much up over the middle of the grid, and that's not where you want to throw them. I'm going to get this together probably tomorrow, and I'll show you where the hard contact comes from by league average. So there's just certain areas that you get softer balls in play, and certain areas where you're going to get harder balls in play, and obviously the softer the better.
Well, here is Kiermaier now. He is the 8th man to bat in the inning. First and third for the Rays, and 3 runs in. Kiermaier batting .239. 5 homers this year. A tremendous defensive center fielder. Sanchez with the 0-1 pitch. High, ball 1. Well, Sanchi hoping for a quick first inning, but it's not the case. He was jumped when Sousa homered to start the ball game. Now he's given up 2 more.
Brad giving the signs. Morrison does have 1 steal this year.
Kiermaier in that series against the Blue Jays was 5 for 10. And he has extended his hitting streak to 7 consecutive games.
Gotta watch Morrison here.
Runner goes. Big jump too. Ball high. McCann's throw going to be late. And a steal for Logan Morrison.
Big man runs decent. Sanchez is a little, you can see his motion is a little high and gives him a chance. And the Tigers they're making sure the runner at third does not go. So that's why you're seeing the middle infielders come in front of the bag and not making an attempt.
Just off the plate outside. It was close. 3-2.
Real situation here now. You're the manager. Got to start thinking about how far you're going to let him go. At 29 pitches, down 3-0. You don't really want to get anybody up and get him hot yet either.
3-2 is strike 3 called. Kiermaier tried to coax a walk, but not so, says Jerry Meals. Rays will strand a pair, but they score 3 as we go to the bottom of the first in Comerica. For the Tigers, who find themselves down 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the first. Tigers starting lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Kinsler, Martinez, and Cabrera. 7-game hit streak right now for Ian. Victor Martinez, your DH. Castellanos in third. Upton is in left. And a bottom 3 featuring Maben, McCann, and Iglesias. And they are facing the right-handed offerings of Matt Andriese.
Pretty good 4 legit pitches. Can make them look like 6. Slider, slash, cutter. That has harder and softer variations. So he just changes his arm angle and the spin rate.
So Kinsler will step in.
Yeah, just came off a shutout against the A's his last start.
He was awfully good in that last start, and really his first 2 of the year have been sparkling. Matt Andriese out of Redlands, California, goes 6'5", 215. He's a biggin, as they say. There's a strike on the outer edge, 1-1. Kinsler at 319 now. 10 long balls this year. He's on quite a pace. Swing and a miss.
cutter right there. See it just move away at the end.
Andres began the season in the minor leagues, and then it was called up on Mother's Day to make that start in Anaheim.
Supposed to be a spot start, but making the best of it.
Fly ball, center field, not deep. Kiermaier is there. One gone.
Well, we're going to take a look. Andres Saturday against the A's. 9 innings, 2 hits. Did hit a guy. 5 strikeouts. Did not walk a batter. In total control. His pitches dipped, kept it down in the zone. And as we were saying, he comes up for a spot start, makes the best of it. They were thinking about bringing up their big prospect, Blake Snell.
Yeah.
And Andres gets it instead. Here he is again for the Tigers for his 3rd start against the Tigers.
It seems like the Rays always have great pitching coming up.
They do. They draft well.
No walks, 5 strikeouts in that start against the Athletics. JD fouls it back, 1 ball and 1 strike. So Martinez has hit safely in his last 4. The average is back up to 265 now.
Chipping away on the way up.
Here's the 1-1.
But the Tigers did well in the last series when they got guys on. They got them over, they got them in. Plus they created offense that they had not been doing. We had a sack bunt, we had some stolen bases, we had guys running the bases very aggressively. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah, and it was great to see the Tigers finally score some runs aside from hitting the ball over the boards, because they've been very good at that. But I think Cameron Maven has had a big say in playing a little bit more of that small ball, stealing bags, sacrificing, getting on base, to be quite honest.
Yes, he has, and he's very energetic on the field, off the field, trying to lift the guys up.
3 balls, 2 strikes now on JD Martinez. Waiting on deck, Miguel Cabrera. 3-0. Rays have the lead here in the 1st. Swing and a miss, and Martinez with a half-hearted swing goes down.
Let's take a look at the starting defense, brought to you by Tim Hortons for Tampa Bay. Desmond Jennings in left, Kevin Kiermaier in center, Steven Souza Jr. in right, Brad Miller and Steve Pearce up the middle, Evan Longoria and Logan Morrison on the corners, and Hank Conger receiving from Matt Andres.
Here is Cabrera. Miggy now with a 5-game hitting streak, and because of that, the average up to 298. You look at a ball high, 1-0. You know, one thing I've noticed about Andres is he seems to throw across his body a little bit, which I think hides the ball a tad.
Yeah, very funky, herky-jerky across the body, no question about it. That adds to it.
Little chopper left side of the infield. Off the glove of Miller into center field. Miggy taking the turn, but he's going to run back. And now they'll throw behind him, but he'll get back into the bag.
Guessing that'll be a hit. The ball really ran into Miggy's hands, and see a little bit of miscommunication over there with Brad Miller and Steve Pearce. I got it, you take it. Been a part of a few of those. To the Tigers' delight, that gives a chance for V-Mart to hit one out of here and get us back to within a run.
The old "I got it, you take it."
Yeah, I got it, you take it.
They have ruled that give you an error.
Well,
E6.
I was wrong.
So here is Martinez. We'll see if the Tigers now could take advantage of the miscue. V-Mart is at 331.
Originally in the lineup on Wednesday, but removed. Talked to Brad about this. He thought that 2 days in a row would be a greater benefit to Martinez than to play him that day. He's feeling a little bit sore. You got to look long term. Victor's been swinging the bat very well and want to keep it that way. Keep him in the lineup for extended periods of time.
Well, the Tigers in that situation, I think, got the best of both worlds because they got some more at bats for Steven Moya, who took his spot in the lineup.
They did, and everybody else in the outfield is playing well, so it's going to be hard for Moya to find at bats.
Castellanos is leading the league in hitting, but Victor is also right there in the top 5.
Idris usually works quickly, but slowing the pace down here.
1-1 is lifted in the air toward left. That'll be playable for Desmond Jennings, almost in his tracks to retire the side. Nothing comes of the 2-out error by the Rays. A 3-0 lead as we go to the top of the second here at Comerica Park. Field conditions tonight presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. 67 at game time here this evening. A little bit cloudy and overcast, but that's all right.
I'd call it a medium track right now.
Medium?
Fair. You can see it's still moist. You hope that even though it's moist on top, that underneath is firm, so you can get your cleats down into the harder surface and excel.
Here is Hank Conger to lead things off for the Rays. Conger, a switch hitter, takes strike 1.
The infielders like it when it's like that serious because it takes care of the bad hops. You know, if it takes a bad hop, it's not as quick. You can usually recover.
Swing and a miss, 0-2 on Conger. They are shifting on Mr. Conger.
Well, they're projecting him to hit it right out there. You can see the looks like a little basket. Looks like one of those little lacrosse baskets. Just serve it right here.
The Tigers really don't shift a whole lot. In fact, they are 13th in shifts employed this year.
Middle of the pack.
Well, that's in the AL. There's a swing and a miss. And Conger goes down. So back-to-back strikeouts now for Sanchez. That'll bring up the top of the order now, Steven Souza. Souza with a home run in the first inning. In fact, he led off with a long ball, his first career leadoff homer. And it is fouled off 0-1. Souza extending his hitting streak to 4 consecutive games with the homer. For a good piece of time, he was a big-time prospect in the Nationals organization. Look out, that ball is up and in. One ball, one strike on Souza. Drafted by the Nationals as a third baseman and was moved to the outfield in 2012, where he currently resides. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Good try right there. Good area. Souza not biting.
Swing and a miss.
Like that sequence, up and in hard, then you go with the off speed down in the zone. It's a changeup. He turns it over. Souza out in front. When you get pounded in like that, you're always thinking you got to cheat a little bit.
Nice play by Castellanos at third. His throw not in time. Nick nearly caught that ball before it hit the dirt, and his throw was just a little bit late. Souza 2 for 2.
No, he said he didn't catch it. I thought he might have caught that ball.
I did too. It looked like he did catch it.
But he would know. Souza runs well.
1-on-1 out. Here's Brad Miller. Miller had a base on balls in the first. They give Miller the entire third base line, and he'll foul it back.
Let's take a look here at Castellanos. We're thinking maybe he caught it, but he got up and threw the ball quickly. Souza too fast, beats it out, and then look at Biggie's thinking he caught it, but Nick says nope. You can see Tampa has put the pressure on the Tigers in the first inning, now becoming distracted.
Morrison stole a base in the first for the Rays. Runner bluffs that time as Souza put on the brakes.
Now he was reading the slide step on Sanchez right there, because Anibal slide stepped, he just shut it down. That's what the good base stealers do. If he lifts, you go. Got to have a mechanism within your head. You have to evaluate. I can make it or I can't. If you can't, you just shut her down and come back.
Miller walked and scored a run in the first inning. A little bit outside, and the count now goes 2-1 on Brad Miller.
Behind in the count many times here, and it's costing him. Having trouble getting the strike calls, putting the ball right exactly where he wants it, just missing just off the plate.
Runner goes. Here's McCann's throw. The tag. Got it. Out at second base. James McCann cuts down Steven Souza Jr.
I wish we had a clock on this right here, because James McCann with an excellent throw, very accurate. It had it just a little over 3 seconds combined between Sanchez. A very quick, good tag by Kinsler. Iglesias, I'm sorry.
That is 7 of 13 now for James McCann, so he's over at 50%.
That's a good tag.
The 2-2 is low. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Want to get Miller because Longoria is waiting on deck.
44 pitches so far, not even through 2.
And he got him. Strike 3 called.
Attaboy.
Sanchez with his 3rd strikeout of the game. No runs, 1 hit. And the Rays will leave him empty. Go to the bottom of the second here at Comerica. Still 3-0 in favor of the Rays. It'll be Castellanos, Justin Upton, Cameron Maybin in the Tigers' second. Castellanos batting .350, leading the American League. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
We're talking about the combination. He's got the fastball, slider. I called the slash and a cutter. That looked like a cutter right there. He throws it harder and softer, so you get variations. His change bites down. Actually, and the cutter has heavy sink. It's a little different. Cutters usually don't go down too much, but this guy here has had pretty good luck with it as of late. So he's got legitimate stuff.
Andres is ahead 0-2. They'll set up outside. And Castellanos would not bite.
Take a look at the pitch usage. His four-seamer, changeup, and cutter, and curveball. But his pitches do a little different than normal.
Did not go on the appeal. 2-2. Right-handed batters this year batting just .185 against Andres.
So the changeup normally goes down. His goes down and has horizontal and lateral movement.
Fouled away.
Cassie doesn't care. 396 versus righties this season. Last year he was just the opposite. Remember, he was wearing out lefties.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, here we are now as we're heading toward the end of May, and he's still near .400 against right-handed pitching. He's been good all season long, but those numbers are not diving at all. Here's a bouncing ball toward third base. Running Scoop Longoria. One away. Stay tuned to Tigers Live following the game, where we will select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day. Here's Justin Upton. Four out of 12 in the recently completed series against the Minnesota Twins for Upton. He came alive a bit offensively, which was a good sign for Brad Ausmus.
Yeah, actually, J.Up hit a couple balls real hard for outs, but did get the return favor later in the series, where he blooped a couple in. They say it always evens out. No hitter would subscribe to that theory.
There's a swing and a miss, 1-1. Well, the Tigers kept Steven Moya thinking that they would find him someplace to play instead of sending him down, but Upton has come alive a bit, and of course JD has swung the bat well, and Maybin has done well. Here's the 1-1. A little bit outside, 2-1.
Well, I talk to J.Up almost every day. He's very relaxed. He believes he's coming around. He's got a good attitude. He's patiently waiting to get hot.
And the Tigers would certainly welcome it.
6 for 16. 375 clip. A couple doubles and an RBI for J.Up. Last 4 games.
2-2 the count. Just off the plate, 3-2 now on Upton. There is Cameron Maybin waiting on deck. Andres came into this game with a 15-inning scoreless streak. That's at 16 now as we play here in the second. Here's the 3-2. And he walked him, ball 4. Close pitch.
Andres thought he went. That's nasty right there. 3-2.
Ooh, strike anyway.
I think he might have got blocked, and you see Conger bringing the glove up excessively. Maybe oversold it.
Yeah, it's a valid point. So here is Maben, who after coming off the disabled list has gone 5 for 9. He'll look at a strike 0-1. We talked about how Maben brings a little bit of energy and kind of a character before the game today. It's Polish American night here at the ballpark, and Cameron was taking part in the ceremony.
A little Polish in him tonight, didn't he? To show him Polish Village down the road.
That's right. No balls and 1 strike on Maben. Runner goes, and it's hit into right field, a base hit. Up and is on his way to third base. He is in there safely. Hit and run single for Cameron Maben. And he continues to get it done with the bat.
Like this right here. Jab, you see him do a little shuffle out there, got a peek, saw where the ball went. Picture perfect. Cam Maben using that vacated right side of the infield. Good swing. Doesn't try and pull it. There you see it from high home. Just like you draw it up on the board. Tigers now threaten first and third.
Executed perfectly by the Tigers, and here is James McCann. Good opportunity early in this game for McCann, who's batting just 118.
He's due.
He's due, and Brad said before the game today his BP session was outstanding. Hopefully that'll carry into the game here tonight. McCann was 0 for 3 in the Twins series.
Now they're worried about Cam Maben over there. Used to be you could fake it to third and then go to first. Quick pitch. It's a balk.
That is a balk, and that'll score a run. He didn't come to a stop. That'd be close.
That's what pressure does. Get a little pressure on somebody. Trying to overthink it. He doesn't, as you say, he doesn't stop here. He just doesn't come set. You have to set if you're a pitcher. You have to come to a complete stop. I think he was trying to quick pitch him. He knows it right away.
That might be the easiest balk call ever to make.
Well, I think at least 2 of the umpires on the end. Look at JF. Come on, that's a balk.
Well, he got it. Now McCann a chance to cut into that deficit even more. 3-1 ball game. And McCann looks at a strike. Boy, Andres has a big, thick bag of tricks, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He's got a lot of different pitches. He disguises them well, like you're pointing out earlier. Watch how he throws across his body.
Maben scampering back, nobody there to take a throw.
So watch his leg here. It's going to come this way, and the ball's going to go across his body.
Foul back 0-2.
And here's the last pitch from what the hitter sees. Doesn't close how he steps across his body, and then the ball is behind his head. He's not showing it till late. As a hitter, you want to see it nice and early.
So the streak of consecutive scoreless innings come to an end for Andres, who had 15 coming into this game and had a scoreless first. The 0-2 is fouled back out of play.
James McCann has had trouble getting going since he hurt that ankle, went down to Toledo, and he looks like he's in between, like many of the other Tiger hitters have been this year. You start struggling, you start trying to fix it, and you get in between. Is it my hands? Is it my feet? What you ultimately want to do is just get up there and compete.
Now the 0-2. High. 1-2.
Also, ankles notoriously are very tough to come back from, because though you can play, it's still not 100%. It takes a very long time to get 100%, and it changes your swing a little bit. And being a catcher, he's a tough kid.
Bouncing ball left side deep in the hole. Now they've got the shortstop Miller throwing to first. Got him. Oh, they thought about going after Maben, and it almost cost him.
They're on the phone. Out.
Brad waves it off.
Now, there's 2 outs now, but if you watch Andres, probably shouldn't say it because it's out in their clubhouse, so I won't say it.
Way to leave us hanging there, Gibby.
Well, I can't do it because I see something.
Okay.
For future use.
Okay, keep it to yourself then.
I'll make a call somewhere where it belongs. How's that?
Perfect. Iglesias whistles one foul out of play. It was also a pretty good pick down there at first base by Morrison to bail out the shortstop Miller. Jose batting .233, had a pretty good series in terms of driving in runs, had a couple of huge hits in that 3-game sweep against the Minnesota Twins. 5 RBIs in that series. The 0-1 fouled away. Andres this year in his time at AAA was called for 5 balks. Five, and that's, I mean, he didn't spend a whole lot of time there. We're talking about the first month of the year.
Well, you see why. Not comfortable with guys on base. That's why it's very important for the Tigers to disrupt his thought process when you get on base. It's not like it's not easy for him. Doesn't want to hold that ball, that's for sure.
Maben in second. He reached on a hit-and-run single. Tigers have gotten a run here on a balk by Andres. And the 0-2. Chop foul. So Iglesias continues to drive his pitch count up. Waiting on deck, top of the order, Ian Kinsler. Fly ball in the air toward right field. Steven Souza Jr. is under it, and that will retire the side. Tigers will settle for 1 run.
3-1. First inning, Steven Souza Jr. goes deep and the leadoff hitter, and now you've got Desmond Jennings, Logan Morrison, and also Corey Dickerson, all hits. But look at the location of all these hits, all up in the zone. So hopefully Anibal Sanchez can get the ball down this inning and get on track.
Those are Bell Tire pitch by pitch, and Sanchez goes back to work and throws strike one to Longoria. 3, 4, and 5 in the lineup. Longoria, Pearson, Dickerson facing Sanchez. Longoria shoots this one foul on the ground, make it 0-2. And the Rays third baseman.
You know, as a pitcher, a starting pitcher, you're in the bullpen, you're throwing the ball great. Come out here and something goes different. You know, you sit down, the mound's a little bit different. You have a hard time and you got to fix it. So hopefully that's what's going to happen this inning for Sanchez and the Tigers.
It was a long 30-pitch first inning for Anibal, but he faced just the 3 batters in the second, thanks to a caught stealing by James McCann. Longoria fly to center field his first time up, and he pops this one up third base side. Here comes Castellanos. 1 away. Time for a game break now. Mickey York. Jason Kipnis putting the Indians on top, and well, those Cleveland Indians now are 21-17. They've been hot. They just beat up on Cincinnati.
Yeah, up 3-2 in the top of the third in Boston.
Steve Pearce, the batter. Sanchez now with the 1-0 pitch. Pearce ropes it foul third base side.
Tell you, it seems to me that you know, I did a little comparison of Sanchez's pitches from 13 to now. It just seems like he's we know his velocity's down. It seems like the movement on his pitches, especially his fastball, not as prevalent as it used to be. So that's something just maybe mechanical, looking for a release point. Doesn't come easy, just like the hitters struggle, pitchers do as well, but you've got to take the ball. Got to go out there and try and be successful, help your team win.
Yeah, just ask Matt Harvey over in the National League how difficult it can be sometimes, even for guys that are supremely talented like him.
How about that? Talking about DLing him, sending him down. And it was a year ago, there was a lot of complaining going on because he wasn't going to get the pitch in the postseason.
Postseason, exactly. That's flared in the air to center, and right there is Cameron Maben. 2 up and 2 down here in the third. Hey, the best offer of the year is back. Buy 1 ticket, get a second one free to select games against the Yankees, White Sox, and Mariners. To purchase, visit tigers.com/BOGO. Buy one, get one. 2 gone now for Dickerson.
Well, remember, he hit the ground ball right down here last time. So let's see if the Tigers adjust.
And it went as a double down the third base line to not get a run. Checks his swing high. Tigers are still giving him that third base side. Outfield fairly straight. Infield playing to pull. Strike called right at the belt. 1-1.
He's got the leg kick going for him. Lifts the leg off of the ground and kind of balances himself. Watch that right there. Timing mechanism. Everybody does it differently. Trying to be on time. Get yourself in position to let it go. You could see that that ball was very deep when he put the bat on it. It's almost by him. Sanchez
in search of a 1-2-3 third. Here's the 1-2. Fought that one off.
I think you finish this guy high.
Desmond Jennings lurking on deck. Dickerson hit just 140 in the month of May, but he has come on a bit now. It'll bounce in 2-2. Mentioned the Rays lead baseball in homers, and they started the game with a home run. Steven Souza Jr. a solo shot to begin the ball game against Sanchez.
Could be a fastball in again.
And he got him, strike 3.
Good movement on that pitch. First time tonight.
And that is 4 strikeouts now for Anibal Sanchez. A 1-2-3 third. Ian Kinsler will get things started for the Tigers in the bottom of the 3rd. Mark Rays on top of the Tigers in this one, 3-1, as Matt Andriese goes back to the hill. The Rays scored all 3 of their runs in the top of the 1st. It'll be Ian Kinsler to get it started for the Tigers. Kinsler, J.D. Martinez, Miguel Cabrera. First pitch is slammed toward left center field, base hit. They had him shifted on the infield, so he hit it over the heads of the infielders. 1 pitch, 1 man on.
Ian stays hot, and he likes the first pitch. We all know that. You wonder why they even throw it close, but he's on time. He picks his pitch out, full extension right off the sweet spot of the bat in the outfield for a leadoff single.
And that'll be an 8-game hitting streak now for Kinsler, who remains red hot at the top of the Tigers lineup. And really the top 2 guys in this Tigers lineup have provided a whole lot of punch in this 4-game winning streak for the Tigers.
Kinsler with 4 home runs, JD with 3 in the last 4 games.
Martinez struck out in the first, 0 for 1. JD in that series against the Minnesota Twins came to life. He was 7 for 12. Tigers offense as a whole started coming around after that final win in that series against the Orioles. They got it going a bit. Now Andriese with the 0-1. Bouncing ball towards short. There's nobody there. Throw to first for the out. Kinsler safe at second, and the second baseman Pierce, who was swung around on the shift, just didn't break to the bag.
That's what the shifts do. You can see right here, he's supposed to come up to the bag. Instead, he initial reaction takes him to the ball, and he forgets. So Kinsler on to second, JD out at first.
We were talking to Ian just the other day, KB, about the fact that these shifts now have really kind of messed things up in what players were accustomed to doing, and now they really have to rethink how they play the infield positions.
You do.
I mean, your instincts tell you to do one thing. Here's Cabrera. He'll hammer that one back out of play on 1.
See if Ian Kinsler tries to take this bag. In my count, it got him about a 1-5 plus from the mound to home plate.
Conger as well has not been a catcher that will throw runners out, although we're talking about throwing from home to second.
Yeah, you got to get a bigger lead, and you got to get a walking lead.
The 0-1 pitch. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike on Miguel. Tigers have gotten some breaks here. They had an error in the first but couldn't score. The balk, of course, scored a run in the second, and now what should have been a double play ball results in just 1 out.
If you're going to go, you want to get off and cheat off. Go.
The 1-1. High drive into right field. Ball is hit well. Souza, track, wall, and that ball is gone. A home run for Cabrera. Opposite field, 2-run shot.
Well, Miggy's been hot the last 5 games. You wonder why they even pitch it to him. Maybe not hot enough. First base open. Miggy's been staying on the ball to right field a lot this year. And muscles that into the Bell Tire zone out there. Well, he's got a sweet swing, doesn't he?
It is so effortless, and all of a sudden a 3-0 lead for Andres has disappeared.
That one sounded different right off the bat.
How big is that lack of turning a double play there? Huge.
It's just how it works out in this game, isn't it? Little mental error right there, and Tigers capitalize.
Victor Martinez takes ball 1 outside.
You can see Miggy's home runs, 7 on the year, 1 to left and center, and 5 to right field.
The 1-0 pitch. 364 feet on that home run by Miguel Cabrera. Brand new ball game, 3-3. Miggy's first home run since hitting one at Camden Yards in Baltimore. There's a high drive to center field. Way back, Kiermaier going to the edge of the warning track. Victor Martinez put a charge into that one, wrong part of the ballpark.
Good swing. Long out. But seems like Victor's picking Andres up very well. Did everything right, stayed up the middle of the field, didn't pull off it.
Here's Nick Castellanos. Nick a ground out at his first at bat. Bender that drops a little bit high, 1-0. The tenor of this ball game has changed dramatically. The first inning, Sanchez gave up 3, was all over the place. He had thrown 30 pitches. Since has really settled in, and the Tigers offense has equaled it up. 1 ball, 1 strike on Castellanos. Castellanos came in a 5-point lead over Altuve. They have their seats marked?
They do.
Miggy and Iggy?
Yep.
So are they forced to sit next to each other? Did you ever have assigned seating when you played?
I couldn't sit down. I'd be walking all over. Must have some snacks there, personal snacks.
Swing and a miss. 2-2. And Drees now has thrown 52. Here's Upton waiting on deck. And the 2-2 pitch. Outside. Full count now. 3-2 on Castellanos. Single and a home run, and the Tigers have tied this game. And Drees now with the full count pitch. Driven toward left center field. Jennings on the move, and he'll run it down in the gap to retire the side. However, Miguel Cabrera flexing some muscle. He goes the other way. Opposite field, 2-run shot. All tied at 3. Games are on sale now. All party suites include $300 in food credit and parking. Select suites include visits from Tigers alumni. Visit tigers.com/groups or call 313-471-BALL. As we go to the 4th inning, it's a brand new ball game now. 3-3 is our score. Miguel Cabrera, 2-run opposite field shot. Nodding it all up.
2-run jack.
Here is Desmond Jennings to lead it off. 3 runs, 5 hits for Tampa Bay. 3-3-0 for the Tigers.
Remember last at bat, Jennings hit the little ball where Mickey had to vacate first on it. He beat Sanchez to the base.
1-2 now on Jennings.
So if you're an infielder, you got to be thinking, the ball goes here, I got to make sure I go there. But anticipate in these situations. Get a speedster like this, generally they usually cheat in a step.
Just off the plate outside. 2-2 on Jennings.
Jerry Meals got a tight zone tonight. Nothing off the edge at all.
Sanchez now with the 2-2, and it's lifted in the air to right, straight at J.D. Martinez. 1 gone. Let's check in now with Justin White, who's hanging out with the big folks in the suites. J-Dub.
Yeah, that's right, Mario. And these suites are available to rent for all kinds of special occasions. We're talking birthday parties, anniversaries, a bachelor party, bachelorette parties, or tonight we've got a graduation party here. And the cool thing about these suites is there's no long-term commitment. You can rent them on a day-of-game basis, and most of the suites come with a $300 food credit. And I got to say, Mario and Gibby, there is quite the spread inside right now for Josh Canty's graduation party. By the way, guys, he's heading to Notre Dame next year. So Josh, quite the student, and he's got quite the party going on here in Suite 221 tonight.
Good
Nice.
college, yeah.
Good luck, Josh.
It looks like a Jim Zinnick shoot right there, doesn't it?
It is.
Cameraman Jim Zinnick.
Cameraman extraordinaire. Party Suite's an awfully good place to watch the game from. I mean, it is extremely comfortable. Here's a swing and a miss by Logan Morrison.
Yeah, good to get a group together, have a lot of fun up there.
Sure. Can't beat eating good food and watching a ball game. Plenty of that going on in the suites.
Nice waters.
Sure. 1 ball, 1 strike on Morrison, who singled in a run in his first at bat. Then he stole it back. He got the shift on against him. The 1-1 pitch. 2-1. What did you call that first inning? The lacrosse net or something? Or
So it kind of looks like a.
Yeah.
I'll draw it after this pitch. The paddle has a net on the end, right?
Yeah. The 2-1.
Trying to think, should I draw that?
Well, he hit it right into it. Right into the net. 2 gone. By the way, that is a 5-3 ground out in your score sheet.
You know what do you think Dick Enberg's going to say when I tell him how to keep score on a ground ball?
Well, Dick Enberg, the Hall of Famer, will be joining you in the booth tomorrow. I've got a graduation for my son to go to, and there he is. There's the Hall of Famer. And the one thing we're going to have to tell Dick is about your scoring.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a C to me. All ground balls are a C where it was hit.
Don't ask.
Simplification.
Just go with it.
What do you got on that? See, it's already started. He's going to give me an education tomorrow, aren't you, Dick?
Oh man, I think Dick's already starting to regret this.
Well, that's a nice setup. Thanks for the compliment.
Kiermaier waiting on an 0-1 pitch. And he'll take outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kiermaier fanned in the first inning, one of 4 that Mr. Sanchez has. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Ripped right at Miggy, who backhands it. And that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning here in the 4th. Sanchez now has found a groove, which is good news. On our way to the bottom of the 4th, Miggy just a picking and a grinning. The Tigers-Rays game when special guest Dick Enberg joins us in the Fox Sports Detroit broadcast booth. Tigers live coverage begins on Fox Sports Detroit at 3 p.m. Don't miss legendary broadcaster Dick Enberg right here tomorrow on Fox Sports Detroit.
Works out nice for you. You get to go attend the graduation.
Yes.
Congratulations, your son Brett.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it. You get to work with a Hall of Famer.
I do, and actually it's amazing. He's called thousands of games. I mean, how many thousands? I don't know. He's up here studying, working around, preparing for the game. He's a true professional and a Hall of Famer.
Here is Justin Upton, who leads it off and takes ball one outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's from Armada.
Armada, that's right.
Central Michigan grad.
Well, we know the fine folks of Armada will be tuned in tomorrow.
Probably gonna have a big shindig for him after, aren't they?
No question. 2 balls and 1 strike. They actually have a viewing party tomorrow in Armada.
Is the public welcome?
I assume they are. I'm sure they're not going to keep the public out. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Upton.
I missed that pitch, but you saw him take the 1-1 breaking pitch nicely. He's sitting back much better on the breaking pitch right there. Just didn't center it. I see progress.
Upton walked and scored. That was back in the 2nd. Outside, he laid off 3-2 on Justin.
Yep, he's 3-2 his first at bat. Check swing, might have got a favorable call. Goes on to score a run.
And he got him, strike 3. Upton thought he had a walk. Jerry Meal says take a U-turn.
That one was lower than the first one, but didn't get the call this time. Remember, he had the slider, the first 3-2 count. Maybe JF's still kind of looking for that. Throws the heater right at the knees.
You brought up a good point on Conger in that first at bat for JF. It seemed like he tried to oversell it and seemed to do it again on that last pitch, but this time he got the call. As Maben stands in. I think umpires, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gaby, will allow you a little bit of movement. And when you try and oversell it, that probably works against you.
Well, I think some of the umpires watch tape on some of these catchers, or they've been behind some of the catchers several times.
Look at Maben, man. There's another base hit for Cameron. Just won't stop hitting. 2 for 2.
Now, I noticed we've been talking about the pressure that Cameron Maben puts on the opponents. And I thought I noticed Matt Andriese, when runners get on base, he changes a little bit, gets a little fidgety. We saw from the balk that he may be a little uncomfortable, so this is a good scenario for the Tigers. I don't think he likes to hold the ball too long. Good opportunity here for a stolen base.
James McCann will step in. Maben already with 3 steals.
He's got a big old lead over there. He doesn't like it. I'm telling you, he's not comfortable.
And now Conger walks out to the mound to have a chat with Andriese. McCann is still looking for his first extra base hit of the year. This would be a perfect spot.
And if you're Cam Maben, I think if you get out there and maybe do a little fake break or something, you might be able to coax another balk.
Playing can to pull. Right side of the infield wide open. Ball 1. The other thing, and we've talked about Hank Conger, he has just been abysmal at throwing base runners out.
Not good. Here you can see the defense. This is a good situation. You know the catcher wants the fastball. So good for James McCann.
Conger has thrown out just 1 of the last 50 base runners. 5-0. I mean, that's just a huge invitation to run.
1 ball, no strike. Probably no pitch out in play for the Tampa Bay. See how slow he is? He just does not. He's not comfortable.
Maben one step toward the bag, stops, and a strike called on McCann.
Didn't like his jump, just a little late. He doesn't like it, so he just shuts it down.
The most that Maben has stolen in a season was 40. That was back in 2011 in San Diego. He had 23 last year for Atlanta. Runner goes. Conger will drop the throw, or the pitch rather, and have no throw, and an easy steal for Maben. And he is 4 for 4 now as a Tiger.
Well, Tampa did a good job here, actually. Andres slide steps, and Cam Maben continues on his way. Pressures Conger, and he drops it. See how yes, that's quick right there for Andres. About a 1-1. Cam Maben runs pretty good himself. I can tell you, a guy not having a great arm, that you feel it and you rush in those situations.
2-1 is sliced to right field. That'll move Souza back to the corner. Maben will tag, and he will head to third base and get there easily. 2 outs. That'll leave it up to Iglesias. Iglesias flying to right field to end the second. Andres will stake to a 3-0 lead tonight. He has since given that up. Cabrera has homered against him. And we'll get a meeting on the mound now.
Conger, a pretty good catcher, pretty good block guy. So anytime you get a guy on third, pitchers sometimes do not have the confidence to bury the ball in the dirt. That means better hitting for the hitter.
Well, right on cue, there's a pretty good block.
Well, last time they went fastballs up to Iggy. He was unable to lay off him, so he's got to lay off that high fastball. Make him come down in the zone. 364 with runners in scoring position. Pretty good opening right here for Iglesias. He hit one out there the other day against the Twins.
One ball, one strike. Yeah, that was a huge bases loaded double, which scored 3 in that 8-run first inning the Tigers had against Minnesota in Game 1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. High, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Good job. Laid off at that time.
Iglesias has always been a guy that has been really good at putting the ball in play. His batting average on balls in play career is .320, but this year it's down to .265.
And around 300 is average.
Up and in. 3-1. It's not going to get much easier for Andres. He's got Kinsler on deck.
70 total pitches for Andres. There you see it by innings. The second 24 pitches. Tigers working him now here in the bottom of the 4th.
Here's the 3-1. Iglesias had a hack. 3-2 the count.
Just can't lay off that high one. It looks too good. Must have a scouting report that says that's where to throw him. Try and go to your safe spots. Slider here.
And he just got a piece of it to stay alive. Right up the end of the bat, Iglesias still kicking.
That's a big play right there. That's what you do as a hitter when you realize that it's not a good pitch. You just try and keep your bat moving towards the ball. Hopefully you can nick it.
Now Andres will step off. He was acquired in January of 2014 from the Padres. They also got Brad Boxberger in that deal, and Logan Forsythe turned out to be a real good deal for them. Bouncing ball left side of the infield. Miller better hurry. His throw is scooped at first. What a play by Logan Morrison. Otherwise, the Tigers get a run. Nicely done by Miller and Morrison.
John's freaky fast delivery of the game. We were talking about getting the ball down. Anibal Sanchez, much better job as he progresses through the game. You can see the results are much better as well. It's Morrison right there into the shift, trying to get the ball on the ground. Let's see if he can continue here as we start in the top of the fifth.
Hank Conger skies one in the air to shallow left field for Justin Upton. One pitch and one out.
Got to watch the sky now, boys. Starting to get dusk out. And the ball could go up there, and if you don't keep your eye on it, you could lose it very easily. Here you see first inning, 3 runs, since none. Batters faced, 3 strikeouts over just 1 in the first inning. Starting to settle in a little bit right here.
Sanchez now has retired 8 straight. We're in the 5th inning, tied at 3. Steven Souza Jr., who led off the game with a home run, stands in.
Let's keep the ball away from this guy. Looks like he's seeing the ball pretty good middle in.
9 home runs now for Souza. Fouled away on 1. Well, as we mentioned, it was a Rays team that pummeled the Toronto Blue Jays for the last 3 days, and they came into Detroit and scored 3 runs in the first inning, but Sanchez has since settled in nicely. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kevin Cash in his 2nd year as the manager of these Rays. Up and in, look out, and he spins out of the way. Here's the 2-1. Checked
yes,
it.
he did.
He went, says home plate umpire Jerry Meals.
Good purpose pitch there inside the previous pitch. Looks like he comes with the changeup, goes straight down. Can't hold up. Oh, definitely.
An easy one to call for Jerry Meals. High fly ball right field, playable for JD Martinez. 2 gone. Hey, just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. Brought to you as always by Miller Lite. A couple of fly ball outs here in the 5th, and now Brad Miller stands in. Three games this weekend against the Rays, and then the Phillies come to town. There's a wave and a miss, and ugly swing there by Miller.
Starting to get that changeup coming out pretty good. Got Souza earlier in the previous at bat. Seeing bad swings at it. Good deception. Ball is down. Breaking away from the hitter. Another one right there.
That time he laid off.
Pitch count by inning. So far 8 in the 5th. So he's trending down. That's a good sign.
Little chopper toward third base. Castellanos bare hands or backhands and throws a one hopper, which is fielded by Cabrera for the out in a 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, nobody left. Castellanos, a nice play. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. The bottom of the 5th inning, and right-hander Matt Andriese is back to the hill. 3-3. The Rays jumped out to a 3-0 edge. Tigers have come back. Top of the order coming up now. It's Kinsler to start things off. Ian sends one high in the air and deep into center, but playable. Kiermaier measures it. One gone. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. The all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. And by Subway. Stop into any participating Subway and get a free Tigers decal with any meal.
Here's the Coldwater High School, part of the senior class, having a good time. Lots of energy, huh?
Yeah, and that's good. You need that at the ballpark.
Absolutely.
JD Martinez. Oh, and they love the camera. Okay.
You do it.
No.
Come on.
I couldn't beat that. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Feel like they're in a movie or something. Ah! Scared me.
On a roller coaster.
Woo.
Martinez 0 for 2, strikeout and a ground out. Andrees brings home the 1-1 pitch. Remember all the energy you had in high school?
Still do.
Good for you.
But you know, there are these times for those youngsters right there. You know, look back at them. I mean, think about back to your senior class. It's unbelievable. It's a great time, but it's time to move on and grow up, folks. A little bit, just a little bit more responsibility.
Swing and a miss, and JD will be thrown out at first base. Third strikeout for Andrees, 2 gone in the 5th. That'll bring up Miguel Cabrera. Here's the Chevy Silverado most dependable player. It's going to be Miguel Cabrera. Gibby in his last 6. The numbers are pretty good.
They are. Batting average up there over 400. Scoring runs, extra base hits.
Driven to center field. Kiermaier going back, still going. Warning track to make the catch. Miggy fell short that time, and a 1-2-3 for Matt Andrees. Some Miguel Cabrera fans hanging out here at the ballpark tonight. They've had something to cheer about tonight. A Miggy home run. It was a 2-run shot that tied the game at 3 in the 3rd.
Yeah, if you're coming down and Miguel's your favorite, pretty much guaranteed he's in the lineup #1, and pretty much guaranteed he's going to do something with his bat. Doesn't look happy about that last one right now. I mean, he had a good swing on it. Didn't power it out of the outfield. That's a long way out there, though.
Evan Longoria stands in to get things started here in the 6th. Longoria, Pierce, and Dickerson facing the right-hander Sanchez. That'll miss low and away. Bender, 2 balls, no strikes.
Now we're in the top of the 6th. Sanchez has done 103 pitches, 91 and 86.
Pulled toward left field. That'll drop. And a base hit. Upton was playing deep out there in left. Leadoff man on. Time for a game break now, and Mickey York. All right, Mick, big series there between 2 teams that are right now ahead of the Tigers in the Central. Leadoff man out here is Steve Pierce. A couple of fly balls in this one. He's 0 for 2. And he drives this one down the left field line. That ball is hooking. Ooh, it's going to go foul.
We're going to have some action in the Tigers bullpen quickly.
They are beginning to scurry.
We're just looking at Anibal. When he gets over 75 pitches, results. That's Verhagen up. Is that Kyle Ryan as well?
McCann runs out to the mound.
That's called a stall.
A pretty quick stall. McCann running back. Rich Doobie and Brad Ausmus having a little chat. That base hit by Longoria, putting the Tigers on high alert here in the 6th.
Yeah, pitches 76 through 100. Anibal Sanchez average goes way up. You know, you can look at it. It says it's 179 first time through the order, 267 the second time, 292 the third, now 357 the fourth. It doesn't necessarily mean you just go on that information and take him out, but you do consider that information in making a overall decision. See how he's throwing the ball, see how the swings are. They hitting the ball hard. See hitting in spots.
Well, the single by Longoria has snapped a stretch of 10 consecutive Rays that have been retired. Anibal has thrown as many as 114 in a game this year. Here's the 2-1.
Here's our high-speed pitch brought to you by Xfinity. Anibal Sanchez, 92 at high today, this evening, low of 72. Pretty good variation, 20 mile an hour there. Trying to trick you if you're a hitter. Like to see a nice ground ball double play. That two-seamer's been running nice. Started off the plate, run it back on, low in the zone.
Full count now, 3-2 on Pierce. Corey Dickerson waiting on deck. Rays have 6 hits in this game. The Tigers have 4. And we're tied at 3. Runner goes, and it's ball 4 outside, and now the Rays have 2 on. And nobody out.
You have to think about bringing in the lefty. Corey Dickerson does not hit lefties well at all.
It's going to be it for Sanchez. So Anibal kicking at the ground. He's upset that he has to come out of this ball game, but a single and a walk. And Brad's not going to stick around to see any more bad stuff happen. So Sanchez will leave. Ball side windows pitching change. Tigers go to the bullpen. Here comes Kyle Ryan. We'll be back. Now for T-Mobile's greater coverage of baseball, did you see what Chris Sale did yesterday? He ran his record to 9-0.
Yeah, he's backing it up. 1.58 ERA. I mean, if you're looking at the best pitchers in the game right now, in the top 4 or 5, you'd have to put him in there. And you can see the first White Sox player to go 9-0 through his first 9 starts. So it's Eddie Cicotte.
Jeez. And he was part of that 1919 Black Sox team. The Black Sox camp.
With Shoeless?
Shoeless was on that team, absolutely.
No, I was at a.
Were you there?
I was at a museum, baseball museum in Cincinnati last week, and they had many autographs from the Black Sox scandal.
Here's Kyle Ryan now with 2 men on. And Corey Dickerson looks at a strike.
But Kyle Ryan's thrown pretty good for the Tigers. Has not gotten lefties out like he would like to so far, so a good opportunity here. Like to see a double play ball. Half expected them possibly to bunt.
Dickerson is 1 for 24 against lefties. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle Ryan has been an outstanding piece to the Tigers bullpen all season.
You can see the reverse splits, 345 lefties, 265 righties. Has a lot of home run, but first 2 pitches, pretty good start.
Here's the 0-2. Outside, 1-2. So as a manager, when you try to make this decision, Ryan does not do well against lefties, but Dickerson is awful against lefties this year.
Well, but maybe a game or 2 has skewed it to make it look worse than it is. I mean, still you got lefty on lefty. Dickerson is not hitting them well at all. I would have done the same thing.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss, and he got him on strikes. Down goes Dickerson. Carved him up.
Yes, he did. Let's take a look at the pitch sequence. Kyle Ryan comes in first and second, nobody out against Dickerson. Throwing strikes, wastes one off the corner. Then throws the cut piece off the plate. One down. Now he faces Desmond Jennings. Pretty tough guy to double up here.
Infield single and a fly out for Jennings. 2 on for the Rays here in the 6th, and a 3-3 tie, 1 out.
Now again, you wonder why he doesn't go right on right here. Jennings is a right-handed hitter, because you're thinking about the next hitter as well, which is the left-hand Logan Morrison. So if you get through Jennings, who's only hitting 200 with runners in scoring position, 171 off left-handed pitchers, you've got cash in a pickle, because now you got lefty on Morrison. Okay. By the way, Morrison hits lefties better than he hits righties. But if they bring in a right, there he goes.
Runner goes, little ground ball hit to the right side. Kinsler will go to first, and they got him there by a step.
So now if they want to pinch hit here for Morrison, we got the righty, but that's not going to happen.
2 out, 2nd and 3rd. Morrison 273 versus lefties. Brad going over the numbers.
You don't want to hang anything here. You have another lefty behind him and Kevin Kiermaier. And Hank Conger after that. Now, it might pinch hit for Conger should they get there.
Ball 1.
Logan Morrison off to a slow start this year. I believe he got his first RBI Sunday.
Yeah, he only has 3 on the year. Well, 4 counting the one he picked up tonight. That came on a single to not get a run in the 1st inning.
It took him 86 at bats to do so.
1-1. Sanchez started the inning by giving up a single and a walk, and he's out of the game now.
The other thing about your pitchers here, you start using a lot of pitchers in the 6th inning, you can run out of pitchers. So
yeah.
there's a lot going on, trying to let you guys join the fun out there.
I mean, as a manager, you can't just keep going lefty righty because you only have so many bullets in that bullpen.
Yeah, not this early.
Sanchez hoping that Ryan can strand these two runners. They are the responsibility of Hannibal. Here's the 2-1. Low, ball 3. Kiermaier on deck. He's about 100 points less against lefties than the current hitter, Morrison.
He does have the speed, though, as well. Morrison does not. So if you get into something in the infield, Kiermaier is more dangerous.
That's going to be ball 4 to load the bases.
Didn't need that.
Now Kiermaier.
Yep, Drew Verhagen. He's been loose. So he's up there just in case Kevin Cash decides to make a move.
Kiermaier at 273 career. 1 grand slam. 273 with the bases loaded. And he rips this one to right field. That ball is going to get down and go to the corner. It might get 3 runs in. Dug up there by Martinez. They're going to try and score 3. Throw to the plate, not in time. Kiermaier has a triple to drive in 3. What a clutch 2-out knock for the Rays.
Yeah, you don't want to walk the bases loaded, and because you walk him, you want to get that first strike. And Kiermaier did a good job of getting a good pitch here, right down the heart of the plate, low in the zone. Gets the head out, down in the right field corner, and all 3 score. So you kind of look at a couple of the breaks tonight. On the other side, he didn't turn the double play. We cashed in. We walk, and they cash in.
Now Conger will bat, and he takes strike 1 right at the knees.
Still a long way to go. Now you got to still cut this damage off right here.
6 runs on 7 hits for the Rays, who have a pair of 3-run innings tonight. The 0-1. Conger strikeout, flyout. Ground ball to third, gobbled up there by Castellanos. Conger is out. That'll end the inning. However, a big 2-out hit for Kevin Kiermaier clears the bases. Funny encounter tonight when the Tigers were struggling 1-11 in their previous 12. Here are the numbers compared to their current 4-game win streak.
Yeah, much different. Tigers turning it on. They're going to be tested here tonight. Just giving up 3 runs to Tampa Bay. So you know that you got it going, so we got to get with it.
It'll be Victor Martinez, Nick Castellanos, Justin Upton here in the Tigers' 6th. A lot of baseball to be played tonight. Tigers have been limited to 4 hits. One of them, though, was the home run by Cabrera.
Down to 12 outs. Don't want to give any away.
1 ball, 1 strike on Victor. So the line is complete on Sanchez. He is charged with 5 of the 6. The single and the walk that started the inning both came around to score.
Yeah, 2 walks and 4 strikeouts tonight for Sanchez, and that inning starts with a hit, 2 walks, and then the bases clearing triple.
Right back up the middle. He found a hole as Martinez does. A single to center. Hey, this Tuesday the Tigers play the Philadelphia Phillies at 7:10. The first 10,000 fans 21 and older receive a free patriotic hat. For Tiger tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Pretty good looking hat.
Yes, it is. You need one too, just like I do when it gets sunny out, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of losing that moss up there.
Politically challenged.
You haven't really made the plunge like me.
I haven't yet. I'm considering it though. That would make for a very bright booth.
Not if it's screen on.
Here's Castellanos. Nick looks at a strike. That single, by the way, for Victor Martinez, snaps an 0 for 14.
He looked good up there, swinging the bat well, but just nothing to show for it.
Castellanos ground out, fly out. Tigers now have 5 hits. 0-2.
Look at that breaking pitch backed up right there. Castillo expecting it to break out over the middle of the plate, did not. You can see the alignment playing opposite in the outfield against Castellanos. Kind of a pull on the infield, opposite in the outfield. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Some of our viewers might be wondering why you would do that.
Nick laid off. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Because that's the way, if you look at his spray charts, he hits the ball opposite way into the air and usually pulls it more on the ground. So if you see these guys are here, these guys are here. I'm getting dizzy.
One and 2 on Castellanos. Conger blocks it. Nick laid off. 2-2.
The Victor down there is no way.
Conger pounced on that thing like
Maben was out there.
like Maben was at first base.
Victor's going to be station to station. You don't want him to only run all out when he's absolutely has to.
Chatter going on down there at first base.
Yeah, there is. Logan Morrison is the one smiling though.
One hopper to second. Nice play there. They'll shovel to second one. Not in time on the relay. It was an odd looking double play attempt.
Well, Victor was kind of reading it to be a line drive, and possibly he didn't want to get doubled off, so he had to stay close. Nothing he could do.
Look at the speed though.
Yeah, that's not, you usually go sidearm. Castellanos getting out of the box pretty good. Pumping those arms. When you're running down that baseline and you're a runner, the less you can peek and watch the play, the quicker you'll get there. Kind of slows you down just a little bit. Eyes on target, switches the base, pump the arms, legs will follow.
Justin Upton. Couldn't hold up. 0-1.
There's Ryan Webb in the bullpen for the Rays.
Andriese is approaching 90. He's at 87 in the pitch count category. This is only his third start at the major league level. 106 in his last start. That complete game shutout against the Athletics. The 0-1. 0-2 on Upton.
Up top of the zone, 93 miles an hour. Got to find a way on that base, Jay. Up, stay on it.
Walked and scored on a balk back in the second. Andriese went right back up there, but he laid off.
Yeah, Tampa does a good job of going to the top of the zone. Their pitching coach, Jim Hickey, is one of the best. He's got a real good idea. Actually interviewed him one time for the pitching coach job, and he knows what's going on. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Knows how to get batters out.
1-2. Conger down to block it. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Upton. One thing we have noticed, Gibby, or at least I have, in recent at bats for Justin Upton, he's gone deeper into counts now. It seemed like a stretch where he was down 0-2 and they were quick at bats.
Yeah, he has. Looked like he got a little large on the swing. This first 2 swings. You know, you got to shorten up when you get 2 strikes. Got to concede a little bit of the power.
Here's the 2-2, and he takes high. 3-2 on Upton.
Yeah, Fox Tracks thinks that's a strike. Barely gets the zone right there, but Jerry Meals does not agree. First at bat, J.F. got the walk on a slider. Called out on strikes last time on a heater. Where does he go with this time?
McCann flashing, or I should say Conger flashing the signs. 3-2. And he lost it, ball 4. Fastball up and in.
He's thrown a lot of heaters up top, hasn't he?
Yeah, especially in that at bat there to Upton. Kevin Cash starting to wonder.
Well, if you're on the other side here, he's got the right-hander up. Tigers have no left-handers in the lineup except for the switch hitter, Victor Martinez, and he's not up anytime soon. I thought he made a quick sign. Yeah,
it looked like he did. Yeah. So Andriese will depart. It's another wall side windows pitching change. Tigers have something going here in the 6th. Ryan Webb coming in, and we'll be back.
Magic Moonshot, presented by Magic Window. August 18th, 2007, off of Roger Clemens, the Rocket. Cam Maben's first Major League home run. We're trying to prime one right here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. See if it works. It's at old Yankee Stadium.
Yep. An opportunity right here. Tigers have 2 on, 1 down. Cam Maben can tie it up, or just keep the line moving. Either will do.
Ryan Webb will come into the ball game now for the Rays.
13 games, 3.75 ERA. Big, tall guy, 6'6". He's been with a few clubs, been in the National League and American League, and just taking a look at Castellanos on their second. He's very runnable. You get the right combination out there. Likes to throw it hard. Fastball slider.
And it's low, 1 ball, no strikes on Maben. Webb in his career has been a pretty good ground ball pitcher. His percentage has always been one of the better ones in the league, although this year the line drive percentage is up a little more than in the past. Maben already 2 hits and a steal in this game.
47% ground ball rate. Average is about 44-45%, so that's what he's trying to get Maben to hit the ball into the ground. Should be hard to double him off, however.
Single and a walk in this inning.
Looking right down the middle with elevation.
Line drive to left, base hit. Castellanos to third. They'll stop him there, and the bases are loaded for the Tigers. Hard hit ball to left field, so they had to hold Castellanos. But Maben is 3 for 3.
Continues up in the count, 2-0, right down the middle. That's what you want to do, be selective. You can see he's trying to get the bat head out, hit this ball out of the park. But a line drive hit it too hard. Castellanos cannot score.
Maben 3 singles in this game. They've loaded him up now, and a little conversation on the mound. James McCann will be stepping in.
Fastball slider again. Does have a change. We keep coming at him with just the fastball slider combination. Again, looking for the double play. With a hitter, you want something elevated in the zone, belt high, and just a little below. You want to keep a middle approach. Not want to try and hit the ball on the ballpark. That's how you end up rolling over the sinker into a double play.
Castellanos at third base, Upton at second, Maben at first. 1 out. McCann takes ball 1. He is 0 for 2 in this game. Ground out, fly out. Tigers down by 3, but the tying runs on the bases.
Webb 92 miles an hour in the last pitch. Used to throw upwards of 95.
McCann takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Thought that might have been a little bit up.
Yeah, I think that was borderline up and away. Castellanos, Upton, and Maben. Like Maben on first, he'll score on any kind of a short double, maybe even a long single.
2 balls and 1 strike. Rays got 3 in the top of the 6th inning on a triple by Kevin Kiermaier with the bases loaded. Now we'll see what McCann can do with the bases loaded. Line drive to left, base hit. Castellanos scores. Upton stops at third, and the line keeps moving. It's 6-4. What a huge knock for McCann.
Tigers a little bit station to station right here, swinging the bats well, down by 3 runs, so being a little cautious. That'll be it for Ryan Webb.
So he surrenders 2 hits in the 2 batters he faced. And another pitching change here at Comerica Park. It is now a 6-4 game. Here comes Ramirez.
Nibbling back here, and James McCann with a real good bat here. He hasn't been swinging the bat well. Gets it up in that count, gets the ball right down the middle. Jay up unable to score. Actually, McCann hit the ball too hard. Castellanos, however, does. And here you see the view from Jay up. He had to hold up a little bit. Not sure why. But that will leave it up to Iglesias to clean the bases to take the lead.
Iglesias had that bases loaded double against Minnesota to drive in 3. Another one would look dandy here. Erasmo Ramirez has come on now for the Rays, and it's a bouncing ball to third. They'll go to second, 1 relay to first is a double play.
It's a heck of a play right there.
It was anything but easy for the Rays. A 5-4-3, and that will cut off the rally. Tigers will settle for 1 run on the RBI single by McCann. 6 in the books at Comerica. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. The Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. And by Chevrolet, more than you expect for less than you imagine. There's our score, 6-4 as we go to the top of the 7th. Yep. And the Rays coming up.
Tigers had a good rally going there. Unfortunately, ends with a double play. Drew Verhagen now in for the Tigers in his 18th game. ERA is up there a little bit, but his job is to hold the Rays so the offense from the Tigers can get back in this game, tie it up, and beyond.
Steven Souza Jr., the leadoff man, starts things off. Then Brad Miller and Evan Longoria.
Need multiple innings out of Verhagen right here.
2-0 on Souza. Homer, single. 2 out of 3. He'll bloop one towards first base. Miggy dropped it in foul ground.
That handcuffed him. That ball, you have to turn and just run and hope you run to the right spot. And he did it. See how his hands in too tight? He doesn't have the ability to make an adjustment when it's in tight like that.
Fortunately, he was a step into foul territory.
That was the good part of that.
He has been given an error, E3 on the play. Two and one on Steven Souza.
Hey, Souza looks comfortable up there tonight.
Strike call, 2-2.
Good pitch down there.
Missed outside, full count now, 3-2.
Seems like a lot of full counts tonight, doesn't it?
A ton, yeah, absolutely right.
Missed a spot, but looks like it was a strike.
Verhagen's last outing was on the 14th in Baltimore. Gave up a couple of hits, 3 runs against the O's. Oh, down goes Souza. He was hit, and he is in some pain right now. They want the appeal to see if he went around, but he didn't. And now they'll have to take a look at Souza.
It did not hit him in the face, did it? I think it more on his wrist.
It appears that way.
Or his hand.
Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, you know that's not intentional right there. Full count. .94 mile an hour on that fastball, so that's coming in hot. Last thing you're expecting is the ball to be inside like that.
Not a whole lot of meat on the bone where he was hit.
You see a lot of guys getting hit nowadays, and something like broken wrist, displaced little fractures, hairline fractures in that area. A lot of bones, a lot of little bones.
Well, it happened to Cameron Maben early in spring training.
Sure, the Rays have their fingers crossed here. Looks like he's going to be all right.
And it appears he'll stay in the game.
When you always got hit in the leg or the ankle or something like that, you could always limp down to first and go first pitch.
So Souza goes to first, the hit batter.
Well, let's take a look. This just gets away from Verhagen. Tell you what, We got a side view on that. It sure looked like he swung at that ball.
Well, here you go. They did appeal. Oh, it sure did, didn't it?
He was trying to, but he made the call. It's not reviewable. So, a little sportsmanship right there from James McCann.
Here's Brad Miller now. Ooh, good pickup, snap, throw back to first. Got him! Souza too far off the bag, and McCann says sit down. What a pickup to begin with.
Oh. Verhagen, this ball got away from him as well. McCann with a good pick and a quick snap throw to first. Miggy's there.
Oh.
How do you catch that?
Oh my goodness.
This isn't even close. Oh boy, they're going to review that.
Ooh, did he tag him? I think he might have gotten back in there.
Yeah, they're gonna review it.
He was looking for the tag.
I think they still might have got him.
I think you're right. I think he's out. They'll challenge it. Or maybe. Let's see.
I don't know what they're talking about. He either challenges or he doesn't. Saying they can't challenge it. And they got to think of the reason now.
That's Jerry Meals, who, by the way, is the crew chief.
I'd like an explanation on that.
So there's no challenge.
I'm not sure why. I'm going to get my cheat sheet out here and see what's challengeable and what isn't.
I think by that second replay we saw, he was out. I mean, it was a late tag by Miggy, but I think he got him.
But the umpires said they couldn't challenge. I don't get it.
I don't either. Miller is 0 for 2, 1 ball, 1 strike on the shortstop.
Says tag plays. Managers can challenge that. That was a tag play, was it not?
Way outside. 3 balls and 1 strike now on Miller.
Verhagen here doesn't have very good stuff. Having a hard time locating the ball.
Ground ball left side. Iggy, great play. Plants, throws, got him. Iglesias going to the hole.
It's good to have arm strength, isn't it?
Sure is.
A couple steps to his right. Good pickup. Gets his feet underneath him. That's the one thing. He didn't step, but he got his feet underneath him. And just uses that arm strength. He likes it. Atta boy. Get him fired up.
Now Longoria.
Verhagen, he pitched on the 11th, 12th, off the 13th, and then the 14th. He pitched like 3 out of 4, but he's been off a long time now, so probably not comfortable out there yet, trying to get some rhythm.
Longoria's single started things in the 6th inning, which turned out to be a 3-run inning for the Rays. And there's ball 2.
The ball's right there. Poke a couple holes in that mask.
Drilled to center field. Maben is on the move. Cam is there, and that is that for the Rays. Tigers playing some defense here in the 7th. McCann a pick at first base. Iglesias, great backhanded play. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch. Here's a Comerica Bank game summary. Kevin Kiermaier's hit right now is the difference. A 3-run triple in the 6th. Cam Maben another big game for the Tigers, and Matt Andriese went 5 1/3, 4 earned runs and walked 2 while striking out 3 for the Rays. Erasmo Ramirez goes to work as we head to the bottom of the 7th in a 2-run game. Kinsler, JD Martinez, Miguel Cabrera, the top 3 for the Tigers. Ian looks at a strike and now quickly 0-2.
Yeah, Ramirez from Nicaragua. He's been around a while with Seattle for a while, now Tampa Bay. Good movement on his pitches. Got the double play ball to get out of the inning. Featuring the same pitch here to Kinsler.
He left that one up. Kinsler fouled it back 0-2. Ramirez had a pretty good year last year. He appeared in 34 ball games, 27 as a starter, and had an 11-6 record. ERA of 3.75 for the Rays. Again, the 0-2. Swing and a miss.
Pretty good sequence right there. Hit his spot. Marginally up and away. Ian Kinsler cannot catch up. He's been hot. This is a pretty well placed pitch right here, right at the borderline top of the zone. One you'd like to let go, but he had to at least try and follow it off with 2 strikes. He was unable to do so.
Now JD. Martinez sends a ground ball foul to third. Getting some word on why that was not a reviewable play down at first base. Apparently Kevin Cash and the Rays took too long to ask for a review.
Yeah, procedural.
The 0-1 pitch. Bouncing ball to short. Miller scoops it up, and JD is out at first base. Kept his big toe on the bag. 2 gone. Morrison had to cross over, made the play.
Faced with 3 batters here. Two ground balls and a strikeout so far for Ramirez.
Miggy is 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer. Cabrera looks at a strike 0-1.
Another thing about that took too long to ask. Also noticed that the pitcher was on the mound. Once the pitcher gets on the mound, I don't think you can ask after that as well.
So there you have it. That's why Kevin Cash did not get the review on that play. One ball, 1 strike.
One of the 2 reasons. Playing Miggy Oppo here. He got the reverse shift on. Same way opposite in the outfield. Pull on the infield.
Two and 1 on Cabrera.
Like to see Miggy get on here. Victor Martinez is overdue to tie this game up.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. High towering fly ball to center field. Kiermaier going back. Track. Whoa! Leaps! Can't get it. It's gone! Cabrera with a towering home run to center field. Wow. Big boy territory.
He got that one, boy. He stayed back on that back leg, and he was upset earlier in the game when he didn't hit one out. He got all that.
Second home run of the ball game.
Rasmussen, he knows.
The only hope he had was that the expansive center field out here would swallow it up, but it wouldn't.
Kiermaier, he doesn't give up on anything.
It's about to jump into the bushes out there. 431 feet. It's a one-run ball game, 6-5.
Miggy's starting to feel it. I mean, he was getting his hits in this streak. Now he's coming with the power.
Ball 1 to Martinez. Yeah, he went through a stretch there where he was not getting a lot of extra base hits. Martinez had a single in the 6th inning. Two and 0.
Well, let's take another look at Miggy from the side. You can see just hardly any movement at all in the lower half. Upper half ready. It's a loud noise leaving the bat. Kiermaier trying to hope for a miracle out there amongst the cameramen. Tigers within 1, 6-5.
Is tapped foul at first base.
You know, you just think about a season, how long it is. You have a lot of interruptions early in the season. It's cold. You have rainouts. Now the Tigers are getting into streaks of games. The guys should be getting locked in. Hitters start to catch up. You can see that with Miguel Cabrera right now. Play him a lot. He gets locked in, and then he just stays locked in. Then you run too much, and you got to think about giving him a rest. But they're not there yet.
The ebbs and flows of a major league season. The 2-1 pitch is hammered down the right field line. That'll get in there and go to the corner. They're going to hold Victor to a single. So back-to-back 2-out knocks, and now the tying run is on for Castellanos.
Comes Jim Hickey. They're about to have a conversation. Talk to Ramirez, Conger, how they want to attack Nick Castellanos. You can see with Victor, they tried to get ahead with the off-speed stuff, down in the dirt, darting out of the strike zone for a chase. Victor got ahead in the count, got one he could handle down into the corner. Cassie will be looking to do the same.
Tigers already once tonight have come back from a 3-run deficit. They're trying to do it again.
Yeah, keep the pressure on. You don't want to let him relax at all.
Miguel Cabrera, 2 homers, 3 RBIs tonight. Here's Castellanos.
Moving the second baseman over to the other side of the field now on the shift.
Outfield, there's a strike.
Outfield very, very deep. They're basically on the track. Now they're trying to make sure that Victor cannot score on any ball other than one out of the park.
Well, then we'll hit one out of the park.
Yeah, make them get 2 hits to score.
The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Castellanos.
You know, Nick's been the guy all year. Couldn't have a better guy up right now.
30 RBIs this season for Castellanos. The 1-1.
Took a lot off that pitch. 81 miles an hour on the inside part of the plate.
Robinson Cano came in leading the league in RBIs with 36. Castellanos is top 10.
We were talking about the outfielders being deep. That allows all this area right here for a bloop. Keep the line going.
Here's the 1-2. 2-2 on Castellanos. Ramirez came in, got that big double play to close down the 6th, and then got 2 outs here in the 7th on a strikeout and a ground out. Then Cabrera hit one a ton to center field. Chop to third. That's a fair ball. They'll go to second for the force. That'll end the inning. However, the Tigers draw a little bit closer. Home run by Miguel Cabrera. A solo shot to make it 6-5. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Five now. The Tigers have a 1-run lead. Erasmo Ramirez, well, he was a little bit upset after giving up that homer.
Well, he's not the only guy. This hitter's pretty good. You see Jim Hickey come over and give him a little chat. Says his arm got down and left the ball up. Probably wanted it in further, didn't get it in. Make a mistake of Miguel Cabrera, you pay.
Yes, you pay big time. So the Tigers now back to within one, and the Tigers go back to the bullpen. Alex Wilson coming in.
Done a heck of a job for the Tigers last year and again this year, now just getting into shape. 15th game. Remember, he started the season on the disabled list. 11 strikeouts, doesn't walk too many, only 3.
Steve Pearce will start it off for the Rays here in the 8th. Pearce, Dickerson, Jennings against the right-hander Alex Wilson.
Alex threw on the 16th and 17th. He's had 2 days off. However, he did warm up on Wednesday.
Here's the 1-0. Brings up a good point, which I wanted to ask you about as a manager. How much does getting warm in the bullpen count toward whether or not you want to use a reliever?
Yes, it depends how many you throw, how hot you get. There's up, there's hot. So sometimes you'll tell them to just get up and start throwing. Other times you'll tell them to get hot. If they're up and down a couple of times, it means a lot. It's like
Boy, that thing was crushed. See you later. About halfway up the seats and left. Pearce with a home run. A no-doubter for the powerful Steve Pearce. His 7th home run of the year.
They continue to hit home runs to the Rays. Souza Jr. led off the game. It's just a ball up. He turns on it. Didn't get it in. Looking in there as well. Knew that right off the bat.
2-run game again now, 7-5. And 2 more home runs tonight for the Rays. Here's Corey Dickerson. Big swing there by Dickerson, 0-1. 414 feet on the Pearce homer.
That's 2 for the Rays tonight. Biggie has 2 for the Tigers.
Drill to center field. Cameron Maben going back. 1 out. Hey, see the Tigers take on the Phillies this Monday through Wednesday and get 4 tickets, hot dogs, chips, and drinks for as low as $19 per person. It's the weekday value pack. Visit tigers.com/value or call 866-66-TIGER. Now Desmond Jennings. Strike 1 on Jennings. 1 for 3 with an infield hit.
He can run. Surprise, Nick's way back. I haven't seen any faking to a bunt at all. He's not swinging the bat well, so doing the Tigers a favor. He moves down that line.
The left-hander Romero is warming up. Boxberger, their closer, is on the DL. Colomé closing games for them. That'll bounce in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Any Romero.
(7-5) Rays. The home run by Steve Pearce has put the Tigers down 2 again. That'll bounce in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wilson replacing Verhagen, who replaced Kyle Ryan. Anibal Sanchez went 5+2 batters tonight, gave up a single and a walk in the 6th, and then was taken out of the game. Those 2 runners came around to score. Here's the 2-2. Checked it, and he missed. 3-2.
Boy, tight zone.
Waiting on deck, Logan Morrison. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss to strike him out. 2 gone. Here is the upcoming pitching matchup presented by the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning. Tomorrow the Tigers will see former Tiger Drew Smyly.
Yeah, Michael Fulmer for the Tigers is a young kid, record 2-1. Drew Smyly, drafted, I think it was the 2nd round, was traded for David Price, wasn't he?
Yeah, out of Arkansas. There's Michael Fulmer.
He's learning quickly in the bigs.
The Tigers facing a lefty tomorrow. They have not been good against left-handed starters this year.
No, they haven't.
I think they're 1-6 this year against lefty starters.
Batting average down as well.
Logan Morrison takes a ball outside.
There's a couple theories on that. One of them being that you don't see as many of them. About 75% right-handed pitchers in the big leagues. So, you know, you're seeing 3 times as many righties than you are lefties, or somewhere near that.
Well, what makes it doubly confounding for the Tigers is the fact that they are a heavy right-handed hitting lineup.
And they're going to, those lefties of all pitches hard inside, cutters inside, sliders inside, and then an occasional pitch away, occasional changeup, turn it over, down and away. They really get these teams and these Tigers thinking the ball inside. So you start to cheat, and then they throw that one on the outside. You can't pull the trigger.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Logan Morrison on base twice in this game. RBI single and a walk. 7-5 Rays. We're in the 8th.
Here's a guy that's been struggling, and Tigers are having a hard time with him tonight.
Missed it again. 3-2. Morrison came in batting just .170. Kiermaier on deck, a huge hit tonight, a bases loaded triple.
First pitch jumped him after a walk to Logan Morrison right here.
There's another walk to Morrison.
It's his 2nd walk. 4th on the night to the Rays from the Tigers.
2 out base runner. Wilson has been throwing and would be ready to go. He's watching the action now.
Yeah, one of the things, you look at how many guys you've used already. You keep going to your pin. You use Sanchez, Ryan, Verhagen, Alex Wilson.
Swing and a miss.
And you're doing it. You're using some of the guys in a down game, which normally you would use only in a tied or up game. That's kind of how you like to design your bullpen. You have guys that throw in down games, and you have guys that you get up only when you're tied or ahead. Maybe a run down, but like I said way back when Verhagen was in, you're hoping he could probably go a couple innings.
Verhagen would end up going the 7th and giving way to Wilson here in the 8th. Here's the 0-1. Kiermaier had a big series that they just completed against the Blue Jays, was 5 for 10, and a huge 3-run triple here tonight.
Yeah, that ball was on the inner third, and he turned on it quickly.
The 1-1 popped up foul, heading back to the seats. Castellanos out of real estate. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Kiermaier.
Keep an eye on Morrison over there. About where he's going to try and sneak attack you. Does have a stolen base in the first when he got out. Thinking about it.
Wilson keeping a close eye on him. Little chopper back up the middle. Iglesias ranging left, will flip to Kinsler for the force. And the top of the 8th is over. They get a big run though, the homer by Pierce.
In the bottom of the 8th, let's take a look at Big Boy's big plays of the game. In the 3rd, Mickey goes deep, and then again in the 7th, brought the Tigers within 1 at 6-5. However, Steve Pierce hit one to put them up by 2, but this one here, he got all of it up there in the camera. Well, he's starting to get hot. He's feeling good, so hopefully we'll see him one more time in the game with a couple men on, and he can get 3. You got a new pitcher. Any Romero this season, 15 games, ERA 2.93, 2 strikeouts, almost 3 strikeouts to every walk.
Which Romero do you want? I'll take any Romero.
Oh boy. Been waiting for that one?
Actually, no. I mean,
Annie or any?
Any. Left-handed pitcher against the right-handed batter, Justin Upton. And there's a base hit to right center field. Now the Tigers coming right back.
Keeping the pressure on. It's a good swing by Jay Upright. Here's what you want to see. Nice and short. Not trying to get too big. Take a look at the side scene. He's getting way calmer down here. Everything's coming down the same. Shorter swing. Good length. Good balance. On the base. So I think Jim Hickey's coming out to talk about what they want to do to Cam Maben. They see they got somebody up in the bullpen down there.
Well, they have been able to get Maben out. 3 singles, a steal. There's Colomé warming up.
So he's been closing games, so they're going to be willing to do 2 innings or 1+.
Romero came into this game with an opponent's batting average of under 100. He was the best in the major leagues among relievers. Here's a bunt that goes foul.
He's firm, 95 mile an hour right there.
3 for 3 for Cameron Maben, batting .667 this year. He is 8 for 12. His average fastball velocity this year has been 96 miles an hour. The 0-1. Fouled away 0-2 now on Maben.
Yep, you're going to have to get started a little early.
If Maben continues to swing the bat as he is, do you consider moving him up in the lineup, or is he just comfy right where he is?
Yeah, I think you let him stay down there now. He's just coming off the disabled list. Not to say that somebody doesn't get hurt. Fastball cutter, basically what Romero features.
Spoil that one in the seats.
Occasional slider. But I think they've been on a pretty good roll. I think they'll probably keep it that way. And if you move him up there, you've got Miggy behind him and V-Mart. And you really kind of take some of his counts away that he can run. You don't want Maben to steal a base and then just walk Miggy and put the double play in order.
Would not chase on that fastball at 98 from Enny Romero.
Getting loose.
He came in having retired 18 of his last 19 batters, but Upton takes him up the middle for a base hit. Here's the 1-2. Little chopper foul.
Got K-Rod and Mark Lowe up, so it's going to be Lowe if we're behind or tied, and Frankie if we're ahead. They might even do Frankie if we're tied.
And Maben hanging tough here against some high-octane gas.
Another one at 98. Yep, coming at you. You can see Maben seen a few pitches today. 6 this at bat.
Ooh, look out, up and in, sending Maben sprawling out of the box. 2-2.
What Romero?
Enny Romero.
Yeah, this is coming up in. That's how you want to do it properly. Turn away from that pitch. Get that shoulder up in front of your face if you can. Don't think they'll be going here. too hard to read him. He's fairly quick to the plate.
Ground ball to short. They'll get the force. Maybe. Did he hold on to the bag? Yes. Well, he yanked Pierce off the bag, but somehow he was able to stay on.
Yeah, I think they're going to look at it, but I thought he had his foot on there for plenty of time. Tigers, these ground balls, Tampa Bay doing a good job of getting the ground. Man, he's definitely on the bag. Doing a good job of getting the ground ball when they need it.
Good call down there at second base.
And you always want to make sure in these situations, if you got the lead, you get one out. Take your time. Don't think two, think one.
McCann had an RBI single in the 6th inning. Tigers looked like they were really in business, but Ramirez came on to get a double play with the bases loaded to fizzle the rally.
Cam Maben, you got to make sure you can make it if you go. Can't afford. You're down to 5 outs. Can't give one away.
Ball 1. Again, upper 90s at 97 miles an hour from the left side. Man, that is an electric arm.
Yeah, he's not trying to trick anybody, that's for sure. He's saying power against whichever you got.
6'3", 215-pounder out of Santo Domingo. 2-0. Romero last year made 23 appearances in the major leagues. Average a strikeout per inning, but his ERA was over 5. Here's the 2-0. Bouncing ball to short. They'll flip to second one, and the relay is a double play. Hitting it right at him. It'll go 6-4-3, and we are headed to the 9th. Our score. The Rays have a 2-run lead for now as we go to the top of the 9th inning. Hank Conger getting set to lead it off against a new Tigers pitcher, Mark Lowe.
Yep, bringing him into the game, get down to it, trying to keep the game within reach for the Tigers down to their last 3 outs. Had a little bit of a hiccup about 2 weeks ago, but threw the ball the other night very well. 16 games, his whole 6 times. ERA is going to be coming down. got to get his location, obviously. No walks makes you a better pitcher.
Hank Conger leads it off. He is 0 for 3, bouncing out in his last at bat. They play to the right side, shifting against Conger, who drills one to right but foul. 0-1 on Conger.
Here's the net again. Hit it right into there. See it on the right side. Castellanos out playing the short outfield. They used to call that rover, right?
They did. He popped this one straight up. Who wants it? Miggy and Kinsler. Kinsler to the grass. One away. MLB is back tomorrow, starting with the D-backs taking on the Cardinals. Game 1 you can see on FS1. Then on Fox is the return of Baseball Night in America, featuring two of the best teams and rivalries in baseball. The Cubs battle the Giants. It's all tomorrow on FS1 and Fox, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go.
Pretty good teams right there. Cubs off to a great start. Giants, they just always seem to hang in there. This is that even year too, right?
That is even years, so this is what? This is their year, right?
That's what they say.
That's how it's been.
Every other year the Giants seem to be in the World Series.
Low threw that one to the backstop.
Yeah, he threw that to the Xfinity sign back there. Yanked it.
Although the Cubs have lost 1 in a row, which is a major losing streak for the Cubs.
Yeah, they got off. It's too good to be true. One of those starts.
1 ball, 1 strike on Steven Souza Jr.
They'll get tested, but it's pretty good to have that start. American League or the National League West, it's a pretty tight division over there.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, popped up foul, back out of play. 1-2 on Souza.
I tell you, the Cubs are in a good division. Pittsburgh, St. Louis, 6.5, 7.5 back. Things have a way of happening, don't they?
They do.
Don't let your guard down, boys.
Ooh, that one just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That was close.
Well, again, Jerry Mills had a very tight zone tonight. Quite the opposite of Doug Eddings the other day.
Lowe went right back out there and missed. 3-2. Tigers in the 9th will have Iglesias, Kinsler, Martinez.
You can see Gene Lamont talking to Brad. A lot of conversations go on in a game like this. A lot of what if this happens, what if that happens.
How much did you lean on your bench coach?
I always want to hear what they have to say. You know, maybe you're missing something. I know there's other, after a while, others don't want to hear anything. I would usually ask, and your job as a bench coach is always to have an answer, a calculated answer.
Let's check in with Justin White now, the preview of tonight's Tigers Live postgame.
Hey Mario, it's been a big night for the big man, Miguel Cabrera, and we'll recap it all coming up after the game on Tigers Live. I'll head inside the clubhouse and chat with Tigers players, and as always, you'll hear from manager Brad Ausmus. Mickey York's in the studio with Craig Monroe and Rod Allen. Tigers Live immediately following the game, guys. Back to you for now.
We look forward to it, Justin. Thank you. Hopefully with some happy chatter if the Tigers come back in this one.
A walk-off.
Ooh, that would make for a great Tigers Live postgame.
Then they got fireworks after, right?
Oh, that's right.
Walk-off, fireworks, Tigers postgame.
The perfect evening.
There's one other thing.
What's that?
Well, you use your imagination.
Oh, my goodness.
You know.
Here's the Winope. He's going to go throw back to first base. And back in there.
Did I throw you a curve there or something?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he locked up over there.
Oh man, I saw a fastball and you threw me a breaking ball.
Yeah, didn't see it at all.
Now Lowe ready with the 1-0, and again he'll go back to the bag at first base. Souza, a couple of steals this year, was caught trying to steal by McCann in the second inning.
Hold it on him.
The 1-0. 1-1 on Brad Miller. Longoria waiting on deck.
How about a double play for the Tigers? Rays have turned 2 tonight, big ones. Took us out of an inning 2 times.
Fouled away. 1-2 on Miller. Tigers out of the bullpen tonight have used Ryan for Hagan, Wilson, and now Lowe. That was Alex Wilson. And now Mark Lowe.
Still got 3 down there. So you know what I'm looking for. Nice tie the game up. Good extra inning game.
See, I'd prefer to win it in the 9th.
Well, but you have to add more drama to it.
No, let's win in the 9th.
No.
Now keep your drama.
Let's get it to where we got guys playing out of position, just like you used to play in the backyard. You ever do that?
Oh, absolutely. But why would you want to tax your bullpen? Just win in the 9th.
Because I'm just saying that's we could win. You want it to be easy. Character builder. Test of determination.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
We could walk off too.
Thank you. More exciting that way.
I might be appealing to somebody that if we take it a little longer, maybe they'll give me a little more priority in my request.
Copy that. Here's Longoria. Single and 4 at bats for Longoria. He came around as part of that bases loaded triple by Kiermaier in the 6th. And now an 8-game hitting streak for the Rays third baseman.
Good job of holding right there. Now it gets a little boring for the fans and the viewers, but we want to hold them down to runs. We want to keep Souza from going on to second base. This is the way you do it. Just got to pick your way through this, slow the game down. Hitters don't like it when you hold it as well.
In there for a strike right at the knees.
Colomé still warming up. He's going to come in and try and shut it down for the Rays.
Now Lowe with the 0-1. He had Longoria lunging that time. 0-2 the count. Again, the Tigers will have Iglesias, Kinsler, and Martinez in the 9th. Right now a 2-run spread.
Right where you want it. Get a couple guys to get on and get it to the big boys. Let them power it out of the park.
Here's the 0-2. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two more to go against the Rays, and then the Phillies come to town next week. Tigers' next road trip will take them into the West Coast, Oakland and Anaheim.
We'll be there.
We will be there indeed. Foul tip into the glove. Strike 3. Longoria is out of there, and the side is retired. No runs, a walk, 1 man left. Iggy, Kinsler, JD coming up in the 9th.
7-5, bottom of the ninth. We're talking about the Rays and how they lead the major leagues in home runs. They've hit 2 tonight. Souza in the first, although Miggy trying to match. Hits one here in the third. And then again in the seventh, he goes to big boy territory out in the middle of the field, up in the camera well. But Steve Pearce answers in the eighth to make it 7-5 Tampa. Tigers down to their last 3 outs, had pressure every inning. And here we go. Get a guy on base and get another home run.
Well, Iglesias is the guy to do it. He will start things off. 7-5 is our score. And the Rays have Alex Colomé on to try and save it.
Keep thinking of Jesus Colomé, his brother, who actually he pitched for the Rays as well, but this guy's got pretty good stuff. Throws the ball hard because Brad Boxberger is on the DL. Colomé into the closer's role.
Check swing by Iglesias. Tigers have out hit the Rays 10-8, but trail by 2. Iglesias 0 for 3, bounced into a double play in his last at bat. Little chopper to the shortstop, and it's booted there by Miller, and that's the break the Tigers wanted. E6.
Got to get that tying run to the plate, and that error allows the Tigers to do so. Here in the bottom of the ninth, nobody out. That'll bring up Ian Kinsler. We're in pretty good shape.
Really good shape here. Based on who's coming up, Kinsler has a single and 4 at-bats. Miller tried to play that ball off to his left, and it hit off the heel of the glove.
A little bad hop on him. Colomé fastball slider.
Ball 1.
It's all going to be hard too. 89-mile-an-hour slider, 95-mile-an-hour heater. We'd like to see this guy with a couple guys on. Biggie feeling it tonight.
Ooh, Kinsler had a huge rip. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, Ian likes the ball middle in, and he's got it right here in the inner half of the plate. Just misses it, trying to back leg him out of the park. Ian will dig in for another.
Line drive, left field side. It's a foul ball. Oh, man. That did not miss by much. That would have been a double.
And a run scored.
And a run scored.
You know, that ball took off. It was fair all the way. And then right at the end here, watch, it just hooks. Got it off the end of the bat a little bit, I believe. About a foot foul. Can't believe it. But get in there and look at this slider. Stay on him. Hit it through that open 3-4 hole over there on the right side of the diamond.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. And Kinsler is out.
There it is. That's that hard slider right there.
They follow Tigers baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. Here is JD Martinez. JD has put the ball on the ground twice, struck out twice, looks at ball 1.
You can go back to that strikeout pitch with Ian Kinsler. The ball didn't look like it moved that much, but I'm telling you, it came out of his hand and went straight down. So you want to look elevation here. Hopefully you can get a hold of one.
Ooh, big swing, 1-1.
Colomé coming right at the Tiger hitters. Trying to get ahead in the count with his fastball. When he gets ahead, he goes to the hard 89-mile-an-hour slider.
27-year-old out of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
Major league average slider speed around 84 miles an hour.
Swing and a miss. That was nasty. That one at 88.
Still hard. A lot of depth to it as well. I think back in the day, the hardest slider I ever saw was about 92, 93 from J.R. Richard.
Oh, he had to be an uncomfortable at bat.
It's just hard to lay off them. They break hard and late.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 gone, and that's going to bring up Miguel Cabrera.
Now those pitches don't look close on TV, do they? So you might be wondering what you're looking at. I'm telling you, there's a lot of deception in those pitches. Nasty slider. Got a live fastball, which he's showing early. You realize it's getting on you really hot, so you're trying to cheat a little bit, then they snap the slider off. It's got good stuff. Let's look at Miggy, 3 for 4 versus Colomé.
Well, I'm liking
2
this.
dingers. Yeah, I think they're willing to be really careful with Miggy. Why not have a big night? Come on.
Well, Cabrera has had 2 career 3-homer games. Let's see if he can add to that list. They play the shift on against Cabrera, playing to the left side of the infield. And Miggy looks at a strike in the outside corner.
That ball looked outside. He's been calling that ball all night.
Jerry Meals hearing about it. That wasn't even close.
Come on, Jerry.
Here's the 0-1. Fouled back out of play. 0-2 now on Cabrera.
Again, the slider. He's keeping that slider down. I like to see him hang it.
Throw him another one here.
He may go way up top, then go with the slider.
Let's see what Conger wants.
Slider.
And a base hit right field. Kinsler is on his way to third base. And the throw to third is off target. Iglesias rather to third base. And the Tigers now have the tying runs on. Cabrera keeps it alive.
Got a pitch run here. Here comes Andrew Romine. Got to do it. Got to try and get this game tied up. So this is a slider, and Miggy stays on it. He's staying back good, very calm underneath. Good turn by Iglesias.
Iglesias motoring all the way to third, never broke stride, and now Romine represents the tying run at first base. Martinez represents the winning run at the plate.
And left-handers swinging the bat pretty good against Colomé. 300. Victor swinging it good. This defense is deep. See the outfielders way on the track out there. Straight up on the infield pretty much. Now they actually got the shift.
And a strike called on Victor.
Are you going to call that pitch, Jerry?
Iglesias at third. Romine The tying run at first with 2 outs here in the 9th. 7-5 Rays. Victor with singles in each of his last 2 at bats. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Victor Martinez.
Hang it.
30,304 on their feet right now. Cabrera has kept this game alive with a base hit to right.
Here's your walk-off.
The 1-1. Checked it low. Did he go? Did not. 2-1. Castellanos on deck. The error by the shortstop Miller opened the door. And Colomé came back with a pair of strikeouts. Two and one on Victor Martinez.
Keeping it away from him now. You don't want it to be inside where he can turn on it.
Bouncing ball right side of the infield. That should do it, and it will, as the Rays hold on and win game 1 of the series. In the inning, no runs, 1 hit, an error, and the Tigers lead the tying runs on the bases. And the Rays will take game 1 tonight by a 7-5 score. We'll be back to Comerica Park in a moment.